All right. Hello, and welcome to Building Your T-Shirt Empire. My name's Cole, and with me, as always, is Gavin. Gavin, say hello to the people.
What's up, everybody? How are you doing, Cole?
I'm doing pretty good. We're kind of coming out of like our slumber. It feels like we still aren't like really going crazy. I get a lot of people talking about how they'll need things in February. How's it felt with Seps? Are you guys getting a big inflow of art yet, or is it still slow?
Yeah, actually, we had like a staff meeting yesterday, and we kind of reviewed the number, and it felt like super slow. Like some of the
Yeah.
shops are just like not sending work, so it feels like it's actually slow. We experienced a little bit of that around the same time last year because I went back and kind of looked at what we did, and there was like a little bit of like falling from the sky type of feeling.
Yeah.
This like actually this week it felt like man just falling with no parachute just because there was like no not that much activities and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to kind of prove we're not crazy, looking at the numbers from the Printavo Open data,
Mm.
there is historically January, February being like the worst numbers. Um, on average, people are seeing an order decline. Like in our best months, the Printavo data is upwards of 200,000 orders on kind of an average month.
Okay.
But we're seeing people hit about 140,000 orders on average in previous years of January, February. So it may not be worse than other years. We might have just forgot that it's a seasonal decline.
Yeah. I think once you're going through it, you just don't. If you don't have that history to back you up, like
Mm-hmm.
it will feel scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like because I remember as I was going through it, I'm like, man, what's going on? Why is it so dead? And then I remember, oh, last year same thing happened, and end of February came and we was fine. So I'm like, let's just hold on real tight, right?
I mean, it's a really good time to reach out. Like I don't normally kind of like dial for dollars. I'm not really a cold call kind of person. But
Yeah.
with the free time, I'm just picking up the phone and being like, "Hey, like we offer this and this. You've
Yeah.
ordered with us in the past. I just wanted to check in, see if there's other projects. I've been telling
Yeah.
people we're doing promotional items this year, and I'm now doing like 1,000 umbrellas for a museum, which I've
Mm.
never really been in charge of umbrellas in my life, but because of the promotional products that we're offering through ASI,
Yeah.
it's kind of mindless. It's just like you find out that these products you never sold before are something they're looking for, and we're gonna land an umbrella sale this month, basically because of picking up the phone and like reaching out. So it is a good time to like work on your sales game if you
Yep.
don't have anything to do. And then besides that, I've been overhauling the website. I don't know if you've
Same
done this at
thing.
all with SEPs, but you can just put a link to any page on your website and then tell ChatGPT to do an SEO audit. And you tell it, here's the trending keywords that I think are the best match. And it will
Hmm.
then tell you in this section, change this to this, in this headline, change this to this, on this picture, change your meta tags, change your metadata data to this, this, and this. So going through and doing that is kind of eye opening because you'll have ChatGPT basically tell you what you would have paid $2,000 to some SEO guy in the past, and ChatGPT does it for free. So those kind of
Yeah.
projects are good when we're slow.
Yeah, definitely. We are revamping the site, or refreshing it, putting like a new fresh thing to it. So definitely trying to take advantage of the slow time.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, jumping into the news, I have some interesting news about probably the biggest brand deal in sports history coming to an end. I don't know if you noticed this, but it's been pretty heavily rotated in the news the last 24 hours. Tiger Woods and Nike Golf have broken up after 27 years.
Wow.
And his previous 10-year deal was for 200 million guaranteed. And now going into 2024, they will no longer have a partnership. His popular Tiger Woods lines within Nike did more than $1 billion in sales by themselves, not to mention his advertising that he did for the brand. So a pretty massive shift. There could be some argument that he's just not in his prime. So we don't know the
Yeah,
details of this. Maybe Nike felt like he just wasn't worth 200 million again. But I would love to know your thoughts. What routes you would go down if you were Tiger? Because people like Jack Nicholson, even when he was fully retired as a golfer, he still had a successful golfing line.
yeah.
If you were Tiger, are you going to either take a deal from another brand, or are you just going to go 100% Tiger Woods golf and maybe control your own $1 billion golfing company?
Yeah, I think he is past his prime. So I think it was a good run for both him and Nike. They did their thing together. And if it's not making good business sense right now for both of them, it's just not making good business sense. They should look other ways.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Tiger, right, because right now he's grooming his son. I'm not sure if you've been following that.
Yeah,
He's,
that's cool.
yeah, he's grooming his son to become like the next guy, and he looks very promising. I probably would not start my own thing, trying to do my own line, because just knowing just to get something off the ground and put the logistic behind it, get like the distribution channel, is just that in itself will just bury you, no matter like how famous you are or whatever, right? So going to another brand that already has that in place and you're just happen to be the face and a name, I think for the celebrity that has like high visibility, that's the best thing to do. Just like focus on the thing that you're good at. Because trying to build something else from scratch is just going to be so much of a distraction. Also, while he's also losing like earning power, yeah, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah.
That would be if Tiger Wood, if you're listening, this is my advice to you, man. Like,
he's an avid listener.
Yeah, go to. I'm pretty sure Adidas would not mind, because they need somebody to replace some of the stars that they lost. I don't know about Reeboks or whatever, so I'm pretty sure.
I don't think Reebok's in golf at all. I would think in golf you would be talking more like Callaway, TaylorMade, maybe Titleist. I don't even know if they have the money. But more of those like golf heavy brands, I think, is what would happen.
Yeah. Because you've seen, I've actually seen a couple of other stars. They try to do that like towards the end of their career. Like, for example, I used to, Dwayne Wade, the Miami Heat basketball player, was like a big, I'm a huge fan of him. And he started his own shoe line and clothing line. I mean, I'm guessing it's doing well, but like it's not Nike. He doesn't have like the marketing push like Nike. Or like, for example, like you see Drake teamed up with Nike, and you see Drake stuff all over just because of the power of Drake and Nike together.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, regardless of what direction he goes, someone's going to have to make the clothes. I know you and me both noticed the same article this week. Can you give us an update on that lawsuit? Because it's pretty wild. One detail I saw was that the company was actually paying their workers as little as $1.83 in the United States for their garment workers. So give us the details, Gavin.
Yeah, so there's some problems right now. So in the past, I did a story where I talked about the government is cracking down on just making sure that garment workers, especially in California, are being properly taken care of on the money side, and also just like work environment, right? So there's been some updates, right? And this is the headline. So U.S. recovered $1.1 million for Los Angeles garment workers. And they're calling this wage thefts, right? Mm-hmm. So there's 165 of these garment workers in California, and they was victim of companies taking away their money. And they worked in a sewing company in Los Angeles. So let me give you some more details about that. So there's a company, alleged company, name is Good Cash LLC. And Good Cash LLC Premium Quality LLC and Premium Quality Apparel. These are the different companies that are being sued by the government to give some money back to the workers. They're saying some of these workers work like 52 hours and they was only getting paid for 40 hours. So in this case, it seemed to be where it was mostly the overtime that was like being scammed on. On average, the workers worked like 52 hours and would get paid 40 hours, right? So they're being forced to pay these back pays. There's more that goes into it. There's a brand that's called Beyond Yoga. Beyond Yoga is being forced right now to give some money back. Let me read this. It says, the agreement includes an update to Beyond Yoga's code of conduct for garment contractors and include full compliance with the Fair Labor Standard Act. So this is the act that protects these folks, and they're going to have to pay nearly $500,000 in back wages.
Wow.
What are you thinking, man?
I mean, that's crazy because I don't even know how to find an employee under $16 an hour in California. So I don't know who these people are that they're even putting up with it. You would think that they would just have the turnover, even if they want to be evil and screw everyone over. You would think that these people would just walk and find other jobs. So it's interesting that that aspect of the industry is still like so exploitive, and I'm glad somebody's actually stepping in.
Yeah, it's hard out there, man. It's super hard for some folks. Yeah. And any job that they could get, they'll get it. And on the other side of that, the person that's providing the job, they know that it's really hard. Mm-hmm. So it creates that environment where if you're the wrong person, you will take advantage of the person that's like in need, right? So I think that's what's going on here, because a lot of the folks I'm imagining that's working in these places are, folks that's like they working with their hands. They're not like, they don't have a lot of like skills, say like yours, that could just build a business, right? So they're looking, they're at the mercy of these companies, and the companies are not using they're not properly using their responsibility to take care of the people. So that's what's going on, I think.
It'll be interesting to see how this affects pricing, and also how many of these facilities will potentially just shut themselves down. Because that whole Made in America game of pretending that you're the more honorable company because you're made in America, if it falls apart because we find out that a lot of these facilities were doing piece pricing and their entire structure is based on them basically not paying people enough. If that's true, and now they're held to a different standard, will they just rapidly increase the Made in America products pricing and handle it that way? Or will they do massive layoffs, shut down, switch to Mexico? It'll be interesting to see how these like local garment manufacturers even deal with it, because it's a pretty small industry out here in LA. I mean, LA is probably the biggest in the country, but compared to global production, there's very little garment creation in America.
Yeah. And to add on to that, so the Made in America, especially on the garment manufacturing, like in my mind, that just feels like a real tough business, right? Because you're selling a commodity item, right? And the whole cost, right? So you could squeeze whatever little margin that you can out of that. And if you're based in America, and that's the current of the industry that you are in, that's just tough to begin with, right? Paying high wages, if there's a market for it, like I think we spoke to somebody on a podcast before in the past where they do made in America, and there is a market for it, right? There is a market. There is people that's looking to pay for it. The thing is it a big enough market to support it?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at probably the biggest T-shirt players that are who you'd recognize as a screen printer, it's probably Bayside and Los Angeles Apparel, who actually work hand in hand sometimes on a lot of projects. And Los Angeles Apparel, last time I was there, it was maybe 200 and something employees. So compared to those production facilities in Honduras or
Yeah.
whatever, they're teeny
Yeah.
tiny, and their products, they're doing, nice products, but their products are $4 more
Yeah.
wholesale for basically the identical product. So it is just kind of a niche industry, and it'll be interesting to see how it evolves with the new rules. In other
Yeah. What you got?
news, online returns are a massive problem, even bigger than I thought. Turns out Amazon has a return rate for clothing of 24.4%, which is
It's
wild.
crazy.
I know my wife contributed to at least 10% of that. She'll just buy 5 items and return 4. She's out of her mind. And so Amazon is trying desperately to bring that number down without having to refuse returns. And the way they're going about it is AI technology. With their new generative AI, they're trying to create a system that will let you know how the items will fit your body, based on your previous purchases and the reviews and commentary of the product page. They're calling it Fit Insights. It will actually account for the stretchiness in
Oh
the
wow.
fabric, the length, commentary about, if it's too tight in the shoulder from previous reviews. And it will then recommend what it thinks your size truly is, regardless of what you typically
Yeah.
purchase. So these kind of AI tools are already going mass market. This one was in beta this fall, and it's now being rolled out to everyone. So it's interesting to see how people are using AI in ways that hopefully just encourage a more profitable business, but don't necessarily replace
Yeah.
anyone, and aren't just killing jobs.
Yeah. Man, yeah. I'm thinking right now, like, yes, my wife does return a lot of Amazon stuff too.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be, yeah, it's a thing. It's a major thing. People just get used to buying stuff, returning it. I think we did a story a few months back. Google was trying something similar, where if you go to Google on their product page, and if it's clothing, certain clothing, not all of them, they partnered up with some other big brands, where they had like AI fitting, right? So this is like in a similar lane that Amazon is doing. Um, let's see how it works. I haven't. I would have to look to see what happened to the Google thing. I didn't go back and double check it. So I'm guessing it's working, because if Amazon is doing it, they might have seen what the market is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've also seen some AI mock-up creation tools that people are doing where, like, you have a graphic that's loaded onto a large print-on-demand service, and then it's just AI applying the graphic to random items. You're not actually sitting there in like Adobe and putting it on a blanket, putting it on a tote, putting it on
Yeah.
whatever. It's just placing it after you upload only the artwork. So you could see that kind of thing where like the AI processes and puts a shirt on your body so that you can kind of see what it would look like on
Yeah.
you, which is basically what Google was playing with. And it'll be interesting to see how that rolls out into our world of printers, seeing different designs get placed and moved around. Right now, you have those kind of basic versions of a mock-up designer online where you're just kind of moving a square
Yeah.
around. But potentially you could have it where like the AI makes a suggestion and it's trying to give you the best placement of an image. And you could also pump out 6 different variations instantly because you're not clicking and doing
Yeah.
it. It's just doing it for you. So especially with print on demand, it'll be really interesting to see how people implement
Yeah.
this. What I want to hear from you though, Gavin, is an update on Gildan, because you have had all the good news about that corporate drama. Has anything new happened?
Yep. So Gildan, there's a lot of talks coming out of Gildan, a lot of fireworks, if you want to call it that, that's coming out of Gildan. So as you know, Gildan fired their CEO. Their CEO was with them for 20 years as a CEO. He had worked with the company for 40 years. So he was there from the beginning of the company. So he was fired late December. The company made a decision to hire somebody new. to take over. And since that has happened, there's been a huge fight, right? Fight between the CEO that was fired. His name is Glenn Charmandy, and also a lot of the board and a lot of investors that invest in Gildan. So here's what's going on. The latest thing that's going on is there's a lot of shareholders right now that are fighting to bring back the ex CEO, right? And let me tell you who some of these investors are. So there are, looking at this, there's an investment firm that's called Browning West. They said last year that they wanted to call a special meeting with the board. The board did not respond to that meeting to talk about this firing of the CEO. And there's 5 other investment companies that has joined in into the fight. There's an investment company that's called Jaworski, Fraser, Turtle Creek Asset Management, Oak Cliff Capital. These investment companies have gotten together to say, hey, this was not done right. They have lost touch with their shareholders for who they want to be represented. And these group of investors control nearly 35% of Gildan. So they have a lot of sway and a lot of power. But right now, the board of director of Gildan is holding strong, saying that they felt like they did their job properly and that they was losing confidence in the CEO, and that's why they made the move. So this is still ongoing right now, where the board, these investment companies are threatening to have all the board members being replaced.
Wow. That's crazy. It's funny to see these unbelievably massive companies do things that just seem so reckless. You would think you'd have a better hold over your business. And I know that you have another story for us about another massive company in the merch game now dealing with lawsuits because they essentially destroyed all of their competition. Yeah. And so tell us about that. Like, what's going on with Fanatics? It's kind of wild to see what's happening with their business.
Yeah, so Fanatics, they are, what would you want to call it, the distributor of a lot of the popular merch that we know out there. For example,
I mean, they bought the exclusive rights to the NFL.
Oh, I didn't know that. So,
oh yeah, I mean, they destroyed all of those local. You know, if you were the person who was doing things for the Dallas Cowboys, you potentially just lost all your contracts as Fanatics came in and got every single team in the league.
Yeah. So there is a lawsuit right now against Fanatic and the NFL, right? Because of this situation that you're talking about, competition is being taken out by these bigger players. So this lawsuit was filed in the New York federal court, and it accused NFL and all of its 32 team of conspiring with online marketplace Fanatics to squash competition in the merch market. And they're also pushing up the price for licensed jerseys after they remove their competition, right? So both competition is being hurt, and also just the marketplace now, because they have to pay more for it, right? So this lawsuit was filed by a gentleman named Charles France, and they accused the NFL of like cutting down on the number of online retailers that could actually sell NFL licensed products. So if you used to be able to sell licensed product as a online retailer, they're going after you. So Charles France is there to save the day, and he's filing a lawsuit. So it's still ongoing right now. It's still ongoing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly hope he stops this and Fanatics does have to have competition, because if you're following the NFL at all this season, every single hat and every single item is identical. They just changed the branded logo. So you don't even have this like local flavor anymore, because a Chargers hat and a Kansas City Chiefs hat will have the exact same layout, exact same banners, exact same text, and all they've changed is the colorway and the core logo. And it's kind of depressing because they design 20 something hats for the year, and then they just swap the colorways for each individual team. So you don't have this local charm, and you don't have people coming in doing cool collaborations that are limited edition drops inside of the building. So I hope that they do have competition come back in. I was just at a Chargers game, and they were selling $85 blue sweatshirts that had a transfer on them, and the transfer was put on in a way that you literally could like get your nail under it and like start ripping at it. And that's an $85 blue sweatshirt, and that blank sweatshirt was worth $7. And you're just kind of like, you know, why? Like, if people were allowed to compete, they would make better stuff. But with zero competition, you're going to pay a fortune for stuff that isn't that good, and you're not going to have any of that local flavor in any of these teams anymore.
Yeah. On that note, I don't know if I want to talk about the NFL right now because I'm a Dolphin fan, and they suck right now.
Okay.
And they absolutely suck right now. So
well, Chargers didn't have a good year either. We had a pretty horrific year. We fired our coach. It was a little raw.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely competition needs the smaller guys, they need to be protected. Make it a fair playing field for the smaller guys. I think it's best for everybody, right? It's best for creativity. Like you said, it's best for the end consumer. And maybe even these companies, because sometimes you just get too big. If you get too big, you like end up caving in on yourself, right? So in some ways, it's good for even the people that's being sued as well.
Yeah. I mean, competition is good. And when people are 100% kicked out, it's not as good. Speaking of a company blowing up in a space that you would not think anyone cares about, have you had your daughter or anyone beg for a Stanley water mug? These insulated mugs that are very similar to what Yeti has put out. A company in Stanley that is 100 years old. Even just as recently as a year ago, was only doing 75 million in sales. I mean, they're insulated big cups for you to put, you know, your coffee in. They have gone completely wild with their social media marketing and their output for these collaborations with people like Starbucks and Target. And they did $750 million this year. They 10x'd because of their collaborations and their social media. And the person who did that was the previous CEO of Crocs that Stanley brought in for the sole purpose of making what is essentially just a big mug hot and popular with teens, tweens, and adults that probably are on TikTok too much. It's incredible to see.
That's great. You talk about mugs, right?
Yeah, I know. And it's gotten to the point where like there's videos online that are hilarious of these girls opening a like Yeti for Christmas and then crying and telling their parents they have to return it because it wasn't a Stanley. And what it really comes down to is these influencers are holding specific color combos and holding this weird, unique, very, very large drinkware. And they're just getting kids envious because if you don't have the right drinkware, you can't drink water. So it's a lesson in branding. It's a lesson in social media. And if you are in the promotional products space, you know, potentially doing some sort of limited edition promo item on a Stanley could be far more profitable than you doing it on a Yeti or a Hydro Flask, whatever other brand. So if you're in the promotional product space, potentially, you know, show Stanleys to some of your clients because the demand right now is insane.
I think if I'm correct, I saw something on social media and I thought it was just brilliant. So it was one of these mugs companies. I'm going to go on a limb and say it was Stanley Mug Company. There was a lady, their car caught on fire. And so it is Stanley. So their car caught on fire.
And there was still ice in the stands.
Yeah, so then the car got trashed, but the Stanley survived, right? And then it got put online, and Stanley got wind of that. Stanley reached out to the lady, so they had like perfect timing on that whole story, and they bought her a brand new car, right? I was like,
Genius.
wow, like being able to just see that, take advantage of that win, create a lot of goodwill in the just out there in social media. I could see why they went quadruple for or 6-7 times X what they was doing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's genius to take those opportunities because you're going to get public releases that cost you nothing in advertising that get tens of millions or 100 million eyeballs for the cost of a $30,000 car. If they were advertising how they have a really nice cup, it would never go that far in reach. So them treating it as a social media play and kind of like a lifestyle, like I'm the person with the right water cup is genius, and it's working really well for them. And the people that are engaged with those influencers care, and they're spending $45 on a water cup.
It's crazy.
I know that there's another collab that you wanted to bring up because you're a big Megan Thee Stallion fan. What's she up to for her merch collection?
I'm a huge Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah. So for the folks that don't know, Megan Thee Stallion is a rapper. She blew up. She blew up really a few years ago, where she made a bunch of songs that went just viral. And once you go viral, as you know, merch is like the perfect opportunity to like capitalize on your newfound fame. And that's what she's doing. She is actually partnering with Planet Fitness to create a new merch collection, right? So I saw a clip of what they're doing together. So they put together a video, they're playing it in their social media, and the video was just her floating on some type of purple cloud or something like that. So they're calling this like a workout type of merch. It was okay, but there was a lot of people in the comment that was just messing around with Planet Fitness, because Planet Fitness has a notoriously hard policy on like canceling. Like if you want to cancel your plan with Planet Fitness, they make it super hard. So there was a lot of people in the comment that was like, hey, Megan Thee Stallion, can you help us change the policy with Planet Fitness? So I was reading a lot of the comments, so that was hilarious. But to go more about this, on this collaboration, they're doing like mugs that you just talked about. They also doing some just regular standard merch. They're calling it Real Hot Girl Energy. That's the hashtag that they're putting behind this. So sounds like it's a cool thing for her to capitalize on her fame, and also the brand will be able to, get some cool points by being connected to her.
Yeah, it's always so funny when these collaborations come out with ideas, because I'll see these people that have no audience, no fame, come to me with art that they've put a ton of effort into. Honestly, it looks fantastic. And then they never even make 10 grand. And meanwhile, you have somebody with a bunch of eyeballs on them talking about hot girl pants or hot girl t-shirts. There's nothing about it that is difficult to produce. There's nothing about it that's necessarily genius. The art isn't anything that the rest of us couldn't generate, but it's all about those eyeballs, and it's all about an audience that's engaged. And so having these merch collabs with large influencers, that's where the real money's at. It's not necessarily about making the best product anymore.
Yeah. It's really where there's eyeballs. Like I think I went to a conference one time. It was like, if your name is being said out in the marketplace and you look at your bank account, it tracks the same way, right? So the more attention you get, the more the money in your bank account goes. So that's what That's the play right here. One,
Well, speaking, oh, go ahead. You
yeah,
got one
one
more?
last story. So I thought this was cool because this is printing related, and we all printers, but it ain't the type of printing that we typically do as printers. This story is about a man that was sentenced in federal prison for 2 years for printing, 3D printing. And he was literally printing firearm and Glock switches, right? So that's what was going on. This alleged person, his name is Franklin. No, actually, his name is Alexander Clark. So he had a 3D printer in his house. He was printing AR-15 rifle lower receivers and 2 machine gun conversion device. So I'm not much of a gun person, so I don't know too much what those are. But yeah, so part of it was taking these devices that are more manual and switching them into like a automatic type of weaponry. So the government went after him. ATF went to his house and they found a bunch of guns. They found machine guns, silencers, firearm accessories, and a 3D printer that was doing a lot of these things. Yeah, so man, as a printer, that could be the next thing to do, maybe.
Yeah, they've had problems with that ghost gun kind of system before. So it's as the technology evolves, people will always figure out a way to make something. I mean, theoretically, you could have been casting these parts yourself already, just out of molds. But it's nice to see that they're actually trying to enforce it, even though it's kind of an infinite battle. But if you want to make your company go bang, you could come see us at ISS Long Beach for the simple solutions to something your print shop. What is it? To automate your print shop.
Simple system and AI tools to modernize your print shop.
There you go. It's a mouthful, but it's me and Gavin Sunday morning, and it's going to be a fantastic class. We've been working on revising it, so even if you saw it in Fort Worth, come on out. And we'll also have a Q&A at the end. So if we either left some stuff out or if you're interested in going a little more in depth than what we present, we'd love to chat with you. We're also going to be doing some live podcasting at the Rock booth and at the Steps booth. And what I'd love to do is have a listener come do a Q&A with some of the guests. So to put you on a microphone and have you chat with somebody like a Ryan Moore or somebody like a Ross who's running all of Rock, and have them answer your questions directly. So we could get that perspective of somebody who's newer to the industry and trying to level up as quickly as possible. And so I'd love to help coordinate that kind of episode when we're there live, because our questions, sometimes we kind of know what we're going to hear when we give kind of like a leading question. And so I'd love to have somebody come and do an honest episode with us where they're like, no, really, why would I buy this? So hopefully you can come on by the booth, meet with us a little bit beforehand, and we will find somebody to do that episode live when we're doing it this next weekend, because it's the 19th through the 21st, right?
It is 19th to the 21st, Friday through a Sunday. And yes, indeed, it's going to be, well, it's planning to be an amazing show. I could already start to feel the energy. I see posts on social media about it. People are talking. A couple of people have emailed me. So people are excited, right, about going to the trade show. And for us, like Cole said, simple systems and AI tool to modernize your print shop. This is a workshop that Cole and I are doing together. In this workshop, I'll be sharing simple systems that you could use to help save yourself time and headache. Also be able to get more from your business. Cole will be sharing some of the AI tools that he's using and leveraging to make a whole lot of money in his business. Okay, that was a punchline.
Well, not in January.
Not in January. So yeah, so that's what this workshop is about. One thing I happen to think this workshop does really well is we'll give you like actual exact example. We'll share what's on our laptop, so you could kind of see, get behind the scene. I think that's kind of like, I think that's very, very helpful for a new shop owner, or even a shop owner that's going, that's in it right now, medium to high level, just to see how somebody else is thinking about things and how somebody else is doing things. Simple tools and AI, simple system and AI tools to help modernize your screen printing shop. Go to the Impression website and sign up for it, so we could see you there. And swing by the Rock booth so we could chat with you, just make friends. That's really what it's about. Just make friends, have a quick conversation, say what's up. If you heard this on the podcast, I'd love for you to come and say, hey, I heard this on the podcast, so we can know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's always cool to actually just like build the community of screen printing and custom apparel in general, because these trade shows, I mean, I remember going to my first one knowing absolutely no one. And about 2 hours in, I was like, well, I saw the booths I wanted to see. And then I thought there was no reason to hang out. But just put yourself out there and talk to everyone. You can just start walking up to people on the show floor, literally just tell them your situation, tell them what you're looking to do, tell them what you need, because this community in general is really, really open and honest. And there are people out there doing $100 million a year, and there's guys in the room doing $10,000 a year. And so there's so many different life experiences to share across the board. And there are people who are like, they're 5 years ahead of you, 10 years ahead of you, and they can help you not hit those same pitfalls that they fell into. And if they can jump you 6 months or a year into the future of your business, just because you don't buy something that was a bad decision, or you don't hire staff that end up being a bad decision, that could be worth way more than anything else you get out of the trade show. So reach out. We'd love to chat with you, and hopefully we can see you at the class.
Let's go.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your mom about us.
Later.
Bye.